Hello, guys. Welcome back to Sports Betting Truth. And today we have a candidate for the dumbest post of the year on any sports betting related social media platform. And it is on the censorship hellhole known as Reddit, where I am permanently banned, device banned, IP banned, you name it. They ban any new account I try to make. But anyway, user StartupBiz36 asked, can I put all of my sports betting as a business to write off expenses? For example, I have a couple software platforms. I can't do this without laughing. I'm sorry. I have a couple software platforms I pay a monthly subscription for that costs a couple hundred. Under a business, I could write this off as an expense. Say I want to go to another state for a couple days to bet on sports in ways that aren't available in my state. Could I write off travel, hotel expenses? Obviously, I would report income under the business as well, but want to factor in real life costs. Is this legal? Short answer, no, it is not legal. No. Don't do that. That's a really bad idea. There are legitimate ways to write off expenses. For example, this YouTube channel of mine that I have. Why do you think I do the vlogs? Like when I go to Las Vegas or when I went to Reno, why do you think I did the vlogs? Because I can write a lot of that stuff off as taxes. Why do you think I did the triathlon videos? Because I can write off a lot of that stuff as taxes. But no, not in this case. When it comes to sports betting, absolutely not, unless you want to be audited. I mean, you could do it. You could submit your tax return to the IRS. Maybe you won't get audited, but I guarantee you probably will be audited, especially now that they've hired 87,000 more IRS agents. So no, absolutely not. I mean, a lot of people are probably saying, well, could you write off sports betting related bets under your YouTube channel? Like me, like the videos I've done about sports betting in the past. For example, that video I made 3 or 4 years ago about making my first ever $500 bet in Las Vegas. Could I write off that $500 that I bet, or $550 that I bet on Florida Atlantic as an expense? I didn't, and I wouldn't. Could I write off the money I spent driving to and from Las Vegas and the Airbnb I got that night? Yeah, I can, but not the bet itself. So no. Now, if I made videos about using these software platforms that this user pays a monthly subscription for that costs a couple hundred on how to maybe use those platforms, only the part of the usage of those software platforms that you did YouTube videos of. So if I use those software platforms outside of filming myself using them, then no, I can't write that off. So you'd kind of have to track the percentage of time you use those platforms on YouTube. But anyway, this guy's probably not a YouTuber, so the answer is no. So let's see if I really hope the comment section calls this guy out, because I don't want people to do this and then get audited. So the top comment is a Seinfeld post, joke post. So I want to see something that has substance. Jilly Oni says, yes, you can do this, but a couple things to consider. You need to qualify as a professional sports bettor. This means sports betting should be your primary form of income, and you should be doing it on a regular basis like a normal job 5 days a week. If you're not a profitable bettor, I wouldn't even bother. And if you're not doing it full time, I wouldn't bother. So here's the problem with that, is that the IRS is never going to buy that for the same reason. If you've ever watched not Better Call Saul, but Breaking Bad, where Saul Goodman gives the advice to Jesse at the nail salon to buy the nail salon so he can launder his money through that. Otherwise, the IRS is going to come after you. It's the same concept here. Now, I've always said this, just because you're a professional sports bettor does not mean you're a winner. A lot of people who call themselves professionals do not profit long term. However, if you are one of the very few people who bet on sports as a primary form of income successfully, yeah, the IRS is going to want to come after you. So I guess in that case, you're still going to have to pay taxes of some sort, but writing things off like software and stuff like that, I don't think that's going to fly. I'm not a tax professional though, but the thing is there are so very few successful sports bettors out there that make enough income out there to where the IRS is going to want to get their cut, that it's really one of those things where I guarantee you the guy who started this thread is not in that ballpark. Like if you're successful enough as a full-time professional sports bettor to where you can solely live off that income and everything, to where you're making enough to where the IRS is going to want their cut, I'm sure you're not going to be posting on Reddit on what to do for tax reasons. So for 99.99% of people watching this video about the subject, no, don't do it. Budget Baked 6227, you're asking a bunch of degenerates on the internet if this is legal. Go talk to a CPA or a lawyer. The True Detective says this might be the dumbest post I've seen in a minute. The Two Otanis says you have to file a self-employed professional gambler, which includes paying both sides of Social Security in order to be able to write off expenses. That is true. If you have a regular job and make 10 or 20K from these sites, it probably won't be allowed. So ASU Grad 09, he has a good looking post. I'm not an accountant or licensed for tax advice, so take this as you will. You've got two paths with gambling. It's done recreationally or professionally. So like I said, 99.999% of people bet on sports are doing it recreationally. When done recreationally, you can only write off your losses up to your winnings. So if you hit a big 10K payout in January but proceed to give it all back, plus an additional 5K, you can't write off the 5K loss, but you also won't pay taxes on the 10K when you get the 1099 in the mail from the casino, provided you've got documentation for the money you lost. So he does make a good point there. So with sports betting becoming more and more legalized in the United States, why do you think the main reason it was? Well, for the tax revenue. The government, the state's always going to get theirs. So you're going to get 1099 forms if you bet enough money, even if you lost all the money you bet. So as long as you have the receipts showing that you lost the money you did bet for the 1099, then yeah, you can write that off. But remember, writing off taxes does not mean you are not having to pay that money. You're just saving on the tax deduction. It doesn't mean you're going to get all that money you wrote off back. It just reduces your taxable income. Professionally, if you're a professional bettor, you can write off all your expenses as you described. However, your income is now Schedule C income or self-employment income. So in addition to owing income taxes on any winnings, once expenses are deducted, you'll owe Social Security and Medicare taxes for both you and the employer, which is also you, which is commonly known as a self-employment tax since you pay both sides. Absolutely true. Another layer to consider, if you create an LLC to generate losses for a hobby, this is tax fraud. If you don't quickly show a profit, as I've always been able to show a profit by year 3 for most businesses, you're going to get audited and have to pay back all the tax breaks you took plus interest and penalties. Rich people used to do this with horse racing, spend a shitload of money in an LLC and call it a business, flying around with their horses, and the IRS caught on. Gambling specifically raises red flags in the hobby versus business space because so many people are trying to do what you're suggesting. That's true, and that's kind of the thing I run into with my YouTube channel. I mean, I make a decent amount of money every month. I mean, not money I could live on, but the money I make every month via ad revenue and all that is enough to where I keep doing these videos. But that's the hard part is, yeah, I want to write off all the expenses I took when I go to Reno and Las Vegas and all that, but I still have to show a profit, in enough years, otherwise I'll be audited. And so there are some years I don't make enough from my YouTube income to show a profit. And so I'm like, okay, I can do it this year, but next year I might have to write off less so I can show that profit, for example. But anyway, the main takeaway from this video for 99.999% of people watching is if you're not in that stratosphere of sports bettors, which is a very select few, to where you're making enough money to live full time on from sports betting alone, don't do any of that stuff. No, bad idea. Anyway, you've been watching Sports Betting Truth. Grift-free sports betting discussion right here. No grifting at all. You've been watching Sports Betting Truth.